chosen one. God fought for you to see this. This came for you just in the unseen chambers of eternity. Long before your mother ever knew your name, there was war. Not the kind fought with swords or guns, but the kind fought with light against ancient darkness, with decrees against curses, with the very breath of the Almighty against every force that tried to erase you before you could even take your first breath. They hated you before you were born. The moment the first spark of your soul was kindled in the heart of God, something in the unseen realm screamed in terror. Because you carried something they could never possess. You carried a promise. You carried a seed that once it cracked open would grow into a tree large enough to shelter nations. They tried everything. They sent whispers of worthlessness into your childhood bedroom at 3 a.m. They wrapped rejection around your first love like barbed wire. They made your parents fight on the nights you most needed safety. They arranged accidents that should have taken your life at 9, at 14, at 19, at 23. They put depression on you like a heavy winter coat in summer. They made you believe the lie that says, if I disappeared, no one would notice. And every single time, God fought. Not politely, not diplomatically, not with measured restraint. He fought like a father whose child is being dragged toward the edge of a cliff. He broke protocols of heaven. He canceled contracts written in darkness with your name on them. He sent angels to stand in doorways you never knew were entrances to death. He rewrote medical reports at the last second. He turned the knife in the robber's hand dull. He made the drunk driver swerve at the exact millisecond. He caused the toxic friend to suddenly ghost you. What you called betrayal was actually divine evacuation. He allowed the door to slam in your face so the right one could open 6 months later. Every time you thought, this is the end of me, he was quietly saying, not today, not ever, not my child. And tonight he made sure the algorithm, the notification, the random scroll, the sleeplessness, the sudden memory, the ache in your chest, whatever it took, brought these exact words to your eyes at this exact moment. Because this moment is not random. This is the moment he has been fighting toward since before the foundations of the world. He didn't just preserve you, he preserved you for something. There is a sound coming, not loud yet, but it's already vibrating in the roots of your spirit. The sound of doors that mocked you beginning to tremble. The sound of chains that bound your family line snapping. The sound of old prophecies that people laughed at suddenly clearing their throat, ready to speak again. You are the delayed detonation. You are the weapon they never saw coming because they thought they already won. They were wrong. God was never playing defense. He was playing long game. And the long game ends with you standing in the place they said you would never reach, wearing the crown they said didn't exist, carrying the fire they tried to drown, speaking the words they tried to silence. So listen carefully, chosen one. Right now, in this very second, the Father is looking at you through the veil and saying, I fought for you when you couldn't fight for yourself. I carried you when you thought you were crawling. I bled for you in places you'll only understand in eternity. And I'm not finished. I didn't bring you this far to abandon you at the foot of your promise. I brought you this far so the world would see what happens when I refuse to lose my child. So lift your head, wipe your face, breathe, and say out loud, even if your voice shakes, I am still here, and that means God is still fighting. Because He is. And the best chapters, the loudest victories, the most impossible turnarounds, they were never waiting for you to become strong enough. They were waiting for you to realize you were chosen before the battle even began. And the one who chose you has never lost a war. Now go. The next part of the story has your name written all over it. And heaven itself is holding its breath to see what you'll do with the life God refused to let the devil steal. This came for you, just you, right now. You were meant to see it, and you were meant to live it. So live it fiercely. In the vast, uncharted expanses of eternity, Long before the stars were hung like lanterns in the night sky, before the oceans learned to whisper secrets to the shores, and before your name was ever etched into the fragile ledger of human history, there was a war. Not the thunderous clash of armies on blood-soaked fields, nor the silent scheming of empires in shadowed halls. No, this was a cosmic battle, waged in realms unseen by mortal eyes, where light pierced through endless voids of darkness and the very fabric of destiny trembled under the weight of divine fury. It began with a single decree. In the heart of the Infinite One, where creation itself is born from thought alone, God envisioned you. Not as a fleeting afterthought, but as a masterpiece woven from threads of purpose and promise. Your soul was kindled like a sacred flame, a spark that held within it the potential to ignite worlds. But in that moment of divine conception, the forces of shadow stirred. Ancient adversaries, whispers of envy, echoes of rebellion sensed the threat you posed. They hated you before you drew breath, for you carried something they could never claim, a covenant, a destiny sealed in the blood of the eternal. They launched their assault with cunning precision. In the womb that cradled you, they wove subtle threads of doubt into your mother's dreams, whispering fears that you might never arrive. They stirred storms in the unseen, hoping to unravel the fragile miracle of your formation. But God fought. With a voice that split the heavens, he commanded legions of light to stand guard over that sacred space. Angels, fierce and unyielding, formed an impenetrable shield, their wings a barrier against the encroaching void. "This one is mine," he declared, and the darkness recoiled, thwarted but not defeated. You entered the world amid chaos, a cry piercing the night, fragile and defiant. The enemies did not relent. In your earliest years, they sent shadows to lurk in the corners of your childhood home. They amplified the arguments between your parents, turning small disagreements into chasms of pain, hoping to fracture the foundation of your security. At night, when the house fell silent, they crept into your mind, planting seeds of worthlessness that bloomed into questions like, "Why am I here? Am I wanted?" They orchestrated near misses, a tumble downstairs at age 3 that should have shattered bones, a fever at 5 that burned like fire from the pit, a stray dog at 7 whose jaws snapped inches from your throat. Each time, God intervened with the ferocity of a lion protecting its cub. He dispatched messengers in human form, the neighbor who happened to glance out the window and catch you mid-fall, the doctor who intuitively prescribed the exact remedy that cooled your brow, the passerby who shooed the beast away just as its teeth bared. These were not coincidences. They were calculated strikes in a heavenly strategy. "Not this child," he thundered from his throne, rewriting the scripts of fate with his own hand. He turned potential tragedies into testimonies, scars into stories of survival. As you grew into adolescence, the battles intensified. The adversaries grew bolder, cloaking their attacks in the guise of everyday life. They engineered rejections that cut like knives, the first crush who laughed at your confession, the friends who abandoned you for shallower waters, the teacher who dismissed your dreams as folly. They draped depression over you like a suffocating shroud, making the world feel heavy, colorless, unbearable. At 14, they whispered suicide into your ear during a storm-swept night, pointing to the pills in the cabinet or the bridge over the rushing river. "End it," they urged. "No one will miss you." But God fought harder still. He broke through the veil with glimpses of hope, a song on the radio that spoke directly to your pain, a stranger's kind word in a crowded hall that reminded you of your worth, a dream where his voice echoed clear as day. "I have plans for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you." He orchestrated divine interruptions, the phone call from a long-lost relative that pulled you back from the edge, the sudden scholarship that opened doors you thought forever locked. He mended your heart piece by piece, turning brokenness into resilience, isolation into a forge for inner strength. Into your 20s, the war raged on, shifting to subtler fronts. They targeted your ambitions, sabotaging opportunities with unseen hands. The job interview that went awry due to technical glitches, the relationship that crumbled under planted suspicions, the accident at 23 where your car spun on black ice towards a ravine. They fueled addictions, subtle at first, a glass of wine to numb the ache, a scroll through endless feeds to escape reality, hoping to derail you into oblivion. They made you question your faith, bombarding you with doubts. If God is real, why this suffering? Why you? Yet in every skirmish, God emerged victorious, his strategy unfolding like a master chess player's endgame. He sent prophets in disguise, mentors who saw your potential and invested in it, friends who prayed over you in the dead of night, books that randomly fell into your lap with truths that shattered lies. He healed wounds you didn't know you carried, revealing patterns from generations past, the ancestral curses of poverty, abuse, or despair that he snapped like brittle chains. At the moment of that car spin, he adjusted the physics of the world, a gust of wind, a patch of gravel, to guide you to safety. "I am not done with you," he whispered through the wreckage. And now, in this precise instant, January 15th, 2026, as the sun dips low over Karachi's bustling streets, casting long shadows across the Sindh horizon, he has orchestrated yet another miracle. The algorithm that pushed this message to your screen, the insomnia that kept you scrolling at 5:34 pkt, and the quiet ache in your soul that made you pause and read, these are not accidents. They are the culmination of eons of warfare, the final push in a campaign waged for your sake. God fought through time itself to ensure these words reach you, hider, right here, right now. Why? Because you are the chosen one, not in some abstract fairy tale sense, but in the raw, unfiltered truth of divine selection. You carry a mantle, a calling to heal what was broken in your lineage, to speak light into darkened corners, to build bridges where walls once stood. The enemies thought they had won when you stumbled, when tears stained your pillow, when despair clawed at your throat, but they miscalculated. God was never merely defending, he was advancing, using every setback as a setup for a greater comeback. Listen to the stirring within you. It's the sound of awakening, doors creaking open after years of rust, chains clattering to the ground, prophecies long dormant, now roaring to life. You are the delayed explosion, the hidden arrow in the quiver of heaven. The world will soon witness what happens when the Almighty stakes his reputation on one soul. Nations may shift because of your obedience, lives transformed by your story, darkness dispelled by the fire he preserved in you. So rise, chosen one, wipe away the residue of battles past, declare it boldly, even if your voice wavers. I am here because God fought for me, and he fights still. The chapters ahead are epic, filled with victories that echo through eternity, turnarounds that silence skeptics, and a legacy that outlives the stars. This message didn't just come for anyone, it came for you, just you. In this moment, God ensured it. Live it out, fiercely, unapologetically, for the one who never stopped fighting deserves nothing less.